Rice doing all of the talking in that huddle. It is, isn't it? Declan Rice is the one leaning over in the middle, chatting away to his teammates on his return here in the Premier League.
He'll be looking forward to this. It's the one fixture when you're going against your former team that you'll just want to come out on the winning side, and he hasn't done that, has he?
Well, I thought he was excellent last Sunday against Liverpool.
Yeah, top.
Although his partner in central midfield there, Jorginho's on the bench today. So Havertz in midfield and Trossard through the middle. The team's in full. West Ham, Areola's okay to play in goal. He had to go off at half-time last week. Back four, Sofal, Zuma, again, and Emerson. Then Alvarez and Souček. Ben Johnson on the right, Ward-Prowse and Kudus, with Bowen through the middle as Arsenal get the match underway. Arsenal in these distinctive shirts, this away kit, the luminous yellow shirts with the wavy black lines, black shorts, and yellowy socks as well, playing the ball back towards the edge of their own penalty area, and goalkeeper Raya is able to get a touch. So Raya in goal for Arsenal. Back four of White, Saliba, Gabriel and Kivior instead of the injured Zinchenko. There's the boos for Declan Rice, his first touch of the match. Quite loud chorus of boos for the man who was an excellent service. And here he is again. Listen to this. They sold him for £105 million, and he was their cup-winning captain last season.
I don't get it, John, honestly. Is it like a little bit of a fun thing just to put him off his game? Will he be appreciated? And I just think leave him alone, let him play his football, because he can obviously be taken in a different way. What a servant to West Ham. Look at how much money and how good he was as well.
Well, already we're seeing the pattern that we expected. Arsenal very much dominating the possession. Odegaard, Rice and Havertz the midfield. Saka, Trossard and Martinelli the front line. So there was a little doubt over Bukayo Saka, Arsenal's 11-goal top scorer, but he's been past fit, and so he's in position on the right-hand side of the Arsenal attack as the ball is won back for West Ham. Kudus takes it up towards the edge of the penalty area, but Arsenal quickly got bodies around him. However, Sofal arrives on the right-hand side, crosses the ball, that's headed down and away by Rice, and Arsenal have been able to clear. That's what West Ham are waiting for, the Arsenal mistake. However, Havertz carrying the ball diagonally into the centre circle, gives it to Saka, who's got space on the right-hand side. Saka approaching the right corner of the box, plays it centrally to Odegaard, who's on his left foot, 25 yards out. Now allowed to run towards the edge of the penalty area, stabbed it infield, but it bounced off Trossard, who was trying to return it, and rolled through to Areola, who could pick it up.
Yeah, fast start to the game. See straight away Kudus on that right hand side, just pinches it, darts forward, but great recovery on Gabriel, Saliba getting back, and then we finally see Saka down the right, just opening the legs up, and interesting start to this game. Here he is again.
Yeah, Arsenal's men playing here at West Ham in the Premier League as Bowen is caught offside. The flag's up, Bowen's taken it on and shoots for goal, and Raya makes the save, but it was one of those rare instances where the offside flag went straight up.
Yeah, it went up, but the referee decided to let it run and not blow his whistle. But is that protocol? Strange.
Or did he? Or did they just not hear the whistle?
I don't know. The way he was going, he was still running, he was still travelling with his arm out as if to say we're going to run with it.
Okay, interesting. So, as I say, Arsenal's men playing here as the sun comes out in East London. Arsenal's women involved right now in the Women's FA Cup. They're playing Manchester City, and Flo Pollock has the news.
And Arsenal's women are behind, John. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 1. Came from a corner. Leia Alexandri poked home. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 1.
So we will keep you across those early matches in the Women's FA Cup. Already Coventry City have completed victory against Millwall in the Championship, if you haven't heard that. So 2 goals from Hadji Wright. Coventry are up into 6th. So we've got these 2 attractive Premier League matches being played. The commentary on 5 Live. West Ham 0, Arsenal 0. We've got Aston Villa against Manchester United from 4:30. But the Six Nations, the Ireland-Italy match, the commentary is on Sports Extra from 3. Arsenal with the ball on the right-hand side. Here is Havertz now, receiving it, middle of the half, attacking as Arsenal play from right to left. Saka receives it, tries to cross it, and it bounces down Or was that the offside flag up against Saka? I think it might have been. It's a free kick to West Ham.
Yeah, just little runs in behind. That was a good burst. Havertz just running right through the centre. Releasing Saka, trying to get crosses in. Such a threat down the right, whether he comes inside. See David Moyes just having a little think. Organisation with his team just to get up a little bit narrower. They'll try and obviously stay away from Arsenal's press because they'll go full on, won't they? That's going to do a little bit direct at West Ham.
It is a 6-match run, actually, in all competitions without a win for West Ham. As Arola strikes the ball away downfield, and Saliba comes across, but under pressure from Bowen is forced to concede a throw in. And so West Ham have the throw, level with the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, but play it back towards the halfway line. Excellent London derby atmosphere. That's what you have to put up with if you play in London, as you well know, Michael, from your days with Tottenham. Many London derbies.
Fulham as well, you've missed another there,
and
John.
Fulham, of course.
Yeah, no, fantastic, isn't it? The rivalry, so many of them as well. Obviously, question marks are asked, aren't they, whether it's a little bit harder for the London club to deliver that Premier League title.
I always remember Arsene Wenger saying exactly that people didn't appreciate the fact that the London teams have to play so many derby matches, and Arsenal actually have dropped points in 5 of their last 7 London derbies. And mind you, they shouldn't have dropped points in the home match against West Ham. They were brilliant that day. I remember watching it on the television. 30 attempts at goal, yet lost 2-0 and could have been 3-0 had Raya not saved a penalty at the end. White playing it forward. No Gabriel Jesus for Arsenal. Again, still not fit. And as I say, Zinchenko is out. Here's Saka on the right-hand side. Comes back in field to Trossard, who's returned to the team after scoring the clinching 3rd goal last week. His ball into the penalty area is cleared away by Zuma. Bounces to Agad on the edge of the box. And the Moroccan had to be sharp there to volley it away, which he did under pressure. But it bounces out of play for a throw into Arsenal near the halfway line.
Interesting test there. So Agad, whether he drops back in, you just see, can't you, Trossard, he'll move around, he'll drop as the 10. It's always one of those as a centre-back, tearing with Zuma. You see, keeping your slot, you step forward. As well, Dan White's found that position for him. Different as well, go from centre-back to right-back, and you have to have that movement, that flexibility all around the pitch.
Yeah, the boos for Declan Rice have quietened, actually, and you'd certainly say it's not the whole stadium against Declan Rice. But there we are again, Rice in possession, carrying it forward, giving it to the left-hand side. Pass short to Martinelli. Zofal was in very quickly. West Ham tried to break, but it breaks down, and it's a throw into Arsenal. 15 yards inside the West Ham half. This will be the pattern, Michael. I don't think anyone will be surprised at this. Arsenal possession and West Ham looking to catch them on the break. And
this is the point as well, right? The West Ham supporters will be saying, well, why did we not have a go? Why did we sit in if Arsenal go on and win the game? Supporters want them to be a little bit more progressive.
Yeah, it's quite a talking point at the moment, isn't it? David Moyes' style of football. And also whether David Moyes will get a new contract. Here's Saka just outside the box, curls it right across the area. Martinelli, ball in, which is hooked back out towards the left-hand side. I think Agad got the touch on that, he did. It was the West Ham defender, and so Havertz allowed it to drop and bounce out of play for an Arsenal corner from the left.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen Martinelli with any sort of space. He wanted to open up that far post, we can curl it right round. But it wasn't there. He just plays the cross in again and again in a good position. So unusual setup for Arsenal. Nowhere to be seen any plays inside of the 6-yard area. They've gone really
very
deep
unusual.
in the far post.
I cannot remember seeing a lineup for a corner like this with 4 players beyond the far side of the 6-yard box. Now they all race in towards the back post as Rice delivers it. It's headed into the 6-yard area, but it's headed into the arms of Arola, who is able to clear it away. Oh, and then there's a challenge on Saka, sliding in. Alvarez, the ball was bouncing, it was there to go for, but it's a yellow card for Alvarez, I guess, with the force that he slid into that challenge. And I say he's just sort of, even though he's received the yellow card, he's just bumped shoulders with
Gabriel was asking what type of challenge is that. He's saying not really. I'm going to get another look at it as he just slides in and just catches him on the bottom of the ankle as he spins up. You get a better view here. There is a bit of contact on the outside of Saka's left foot. No wonder he spins up into the sky. He's got no complaints with that one. It was was a dangerous lunge. I think he really needed to do it. It was off the ground.
Yep, so a yellow card, first of the match for the Mexican midfielder Edson Alvarez, who's being watched by his national team coach here today. The Mexican coach Jaime Lozano is sitting up in the stands somewhere here. So free kick then for Arsenal on the far side, which is tapped short. Then Rice plays it down the line to Saka, and Crowder already on to Bukayo Saka. Back to Rice, swirls it in, and the header goalwards from Havertz. He got underneath it, just headed it up into the air, and Arola was able to catch it as he moved left across his goal line.
Yeah, it was deep cross. Havertz making the penalty area, gets good contact just into the sky. Goalkeeper collects, but it's just that little set, delivery comes in. Arsenal don't always go with that one when the back line haven't moved.
The West Ham fans feel that Bowen was fouled there, but referee Pawson disagrees. He's allowed Arsenal to play on, and Odegaard near the right corner of the penalty area. White angles it back. Saka is there. Little touch to Odegaard. Drags it onto his left foot. Plays it square to Rice. Rice, couple of touches. Then back to Odegaard, right side of the penalty area. West Ham back in numbers in the claret and blue. Then Saka, left foot shot from him, deflected across the face of goal. Off a West Ham defender. It's another corner.
Yeah, it was. The referee just points out that corner kick, but good play. Arsenal ringing that box, but Declan Rice gets it, and he tries to, when he takes it with that left, he pushes it the right, but West Ham players are ready for it. Circulates again. Saka coming off the line, gets his shot. It was good numbers, good block. Whether it was going to be a bare hand, it was just almost near again, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. I mean, his arm was right down next to his body, but it did strike the arm, which took it wide. Corner taken. Odegaard curls it into the back post. And Gabriel, who is arriving, but there's a defender there with him who's got the touch on that. It's Alvarez, so it's another corner from the other side.
Yeah, set pieces are good, goes short. Odegaard right on the edge of the area, just clips it far post, and hear those supporters now. That same setup from the opposite side.
Michael, they've obviously detected something. The set piece coach, it's...
When you're zonal, John, you want to get a run so they can't see where you're coming from. Normally you can see from the outside, and the blockers are there, they've moved them out of the way.
It's Nicolas Jaubert, isn't it, who was at Manchester City. So they take the corner short after all that, and Saka curls it in over everyone, which has gone down well. Biggest cheer so far from the West Ham supporters for Saka's poor delivery, and it's a goal kick for West Ham. But I mean, a very unusual setup, just so people can picture it. Corner on the far side. There are 4 Arsenal players who are almost in a line on the far side of the 6-yard box from the corner, the side the corner has been taken, who then make that run into the back post.
Yeah, a couple of them going short, but generally you have zonals all around the 6-yard area, a couple on the front, then you have a couple of blockers, or you'll have 2 markers. You're taking the best headers of your opponents, but they've took him out of the eye line, and it's unusual. We've got these set piece coaches now who want to show that they're there, they're doing something justifiable. That was one. If they score from, you can only imagine
absolutely
the celebrations, although Mikel Arteta might have to be a little bit careful with that one.
As West Ham attack down the right hand side, but that's excellently defended, Gabriel, against Jared Bowen, and it bounces back towards the edge of the penalty area, and Gabriel plays it across to Saliba, who chips it across the face of Bowen. West Ham fans feel that Gabriel handballed that, and then Kibio wasn't able to keep it in play just next to David Moyes on the touchline, so it is a throw-in to West Ham. That's a little win, that one.
Yeah,
but nobody, you're absolutely right, Michael, nobody can be accused, no Arsenal fan can be accused of saying, well, what's our set-piece coach doing?
But it's also as well the board is saying, well, how much does our set-piece coach cost? There he is.
There he is.
And Mikel Arteta said, look, this is what it brings, this is why, that's the difference.
And of course their record of scoring from set pieces is better than anyone else's this season. West Ham, so foul, with the ball on the right hand side, left foot into the penalty area, but scuffed it, and an easy clearance away for Havertz on the edge of the box. West Ham 0, Arsenal 0. This is BBC Radio 5 Live on our latest 5 Live Premier League Sunday, and if you're on the move you can listen via BBC Sounds, where you will find all BBC radio. Here's Alvarez nearer the halfway line, our friend from Mexican television, Rodrigo, who we see at virtually every match follows the Mexicans around. He's been told by his bosses today, the one thing you have to do today is they get an interview with the Mexican national team coach, so he was a little bit on edge before the game. Rodrigo. Ball forward for West Ham, but Raya's able to come out and collect that on the edge of the penalty area. Now it's back with Saliba, who plays it back to Raya again. Jared Bowen herring around up front. He's scored in the last 4 matches for West Ham that he's played against Arsenal, the last 4 competitive matches. As Arsenal trying to pass it out from the back. Declan Rice though, tackled by Bowen. And now Johnson, Ben Johnson, who's started actually on the left-hand side. Ben Johnson, having played on the right last week, but West Ham forced to go back to the halfway line. Little pass to the right, to Zuma, and then across to Aguerd. West Ham just getting a little bit of momentum for the first time in the match. Now Emerson on the left-hand side. Still West Ham in possession, but back it goes towards the halfway line again. So we have news, a first goal of the day in the 5th round of the Scottish Cup. Ailey Barber.
It is St Mirren 0, Celtic 1. It's come completely against the run of play. It's been all the home side, but a fast break from Palma. He found Kyogo, and the little Japanese striker struck for his 12th goal of the season to make it St Mirren 0, Celtic 1.
Thank you very much, Ailey. So that the 2 o'clock kickoff, just like this one, and we heard in the 5th round of the Women's FA Cup that Manchester City are winning at Arsenal. The latest scores in the other matches currently underway: Wolves 0, Brighton 1, Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0, London City 0, Liverpool 1, and Southampton 0, Manchester United 1. West Ham coming forward. Bowen playing it down the left-hand side to Johnson. Kudus is waiting in the middle, but Kivior got in there first. The two of them both made a run together across the box. And it was the Polish left-back, as he is in this match, who was able to steer it away beyond the far post for a corner.
Yeah, you've got to stay with your runners. Arsenal don't do that. It just gets down that left-hand side. The ball wants to be whipped right across the face, but good covering run. Arsenal getting good positions. Kudus just on that back post, thinking just another metre and I'm there.
It's his 3rd match back, Kudus, after being on international duty. He was looking really exciting, not quite back in his stride yet since he's returned, but this is West Ham's first corner. Right-footed in swinger from Ward-Prowse, headed away by Gabriel. West Ham man's gone down inside the penalty area. There are 1 or 2 shouts, but really from the stands. Although in saying that, I noticed that the point is being made to referee Pawson, and I think Souček is suggesting to the referee that VAR have a look at it, him being blocked or being wrestled down by, was it Odegaard?
Yeah, Odegaard was just in that. He just gets another look, but Gabriel does really well, doesn't he? Great header.
There, was there?
No. They've had a little stop in play, but
that's him putting down a marker, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to say straight away, don't you? Under pressure.
He wants to make sure they've had a look at that. There wasn't enough there for that to be a West Ham penalty, but he's saying to them, watch out next time.
Well, it's like that contact, isn't it? You're staying down, you're letting them have a look, you're putting a little bit of pressure on the officials, but Ben Johnson could have kept it alive. He should have just dinked the ball back in. He gets very, very fortunate under the pressure as he tries to go back.
That's Michael Brown, Premier League midfielder with Fulham, as well as Tottenham, Wigan, Manchester City. As West Ham break from the halfway line, here is Bowen running at Gabriel. Left foot shot, took a little deflection. That took pace off it actually, and Raya was able to scamper to his right and just gather it up on the bounce into his chest.
Yeah, great run, countered quick. Jared Bowen getting in his stride, pushing it out of his feet onto that left foot. Tries to get his strike from long range, but again, that tackle, that lunge, Gabriel just took all the pace. Does very, very well to block it. Now Arsenal just circulate, West Ham retreat, they wait, they have a little look. They've had a few goes now, and now it's time to set those traps and wait for that short pass.
Bowen scored here, obviously, having scored in his last 4 matches against Arsenal. Scored here when they played each other in the Carabao Cup, and scored in what was an entertaining 2-2 draw here last season, towards the end of last season in April. But Arsenal's record pretty good. They've lost just 1 of their last 15 Premier League away matches against West Ham. When they did lose it, of course, it was Declan Rice who scored the only goal for West Ham. as Saka bringing the ball infield towards the edge of the penalty area, shooting left-footed, but didn't catch that at all as he would have wanted to, and that was an easy one for, as Mark Lawrenson always used to say, the goalkeeper could have thrown his cap on that, but he dropped on it and just collected it quite easily, Arola, and then that might have been a foul on Johnson over there on the far side. The ball's out of play. I think it's just been given as a throw-in. So it's West Ham 0, Arsenal 0 on 5 Live with 20 minutes played. Arsenal dominating the possession, and West Ham looking to create problems on the break, which they have.
Yeah, they have. I was just looking for the cap, but I couldn't see it.
No, well,
not sunny enough, is it today?
Well,
actually,
James
walking
Trafford
in,
might have had one
it?
yesterday. James Trafford might have had a useful one. You were at Manchester City yesterday, who weren't at their best. Liverpool weren't at their best. Burnley missed some chances. Most important thing, though, they both won. So
that's all allegedly, John.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
Jobs were done. They
yeah,
did everything they needed to do, both teams, and now it's Arsenal's turn. Can they get over this stubborn, well-drilled West Ham side who will sit in, make it hard and quick on the counter? They've had some top results in this stadium, but Arsenal have to take that on. They have to have the confidence, the belief to keep moving it around and getting players into good positions to try and create those opportunities.
Alvarez was sharp in on the challenge there, and then ball out towards the left-hand side. Emerson's onto this, left-footed cross, but that's blocked immediately at source. Declan Rice, who was out there as well. Declan Rice underneath the header away. Johnson's going to take this on. Ben Johnson, the young England under-21 player. The touch from Ward-Prowse out to Emerson. Still West Ham have it as they play from left to right, and then the ball is swung in right-footed from that far side by Johnson, but easily cleared away by Gabriel near the penalty spot. Back to the halfway line where West Ham will start again. It's 0-0 if you've just joined us, and Emerson tried to flick the ball, backheel it down the line. That has gone badly wrong. Saka is able to take it on. Then Rice. Now Saka infield. Odegaard 30 yards out. Took a couple of touches to Trossard on the edge of the box, but Trossard's pass, he was trying just to release Havertz into the penalty area. That didn't work either. And now it's Saliba and Bowen.
He's got to work out there, hasn't he? Bowen, Saliba and Gabriel coming tight, putting him under pressure. But nice to see Saka there. Declan Rice just backing it up. Great little link play. Odegaard to Havertz and Trossard just couldn't get that space, but it's opening.
It is Saliba and Arsenal coming down the right-hand side again. Odegaard to Saka. Saka, left-footed ball curled in, and that is a header over the top. That was a clear chance for Trossard. Edge of the 6-yard box. He got away from Aged and he couldn't keep his header down. Big chance, Arsenal, not taken.
Yeah, wonderful play down that right-hand side. Saka just opens it up, left-footed. Lovely cross, just drifted in towards that 6-yard area. Trossard's there, hands on his head, no wonder. He just needs to just touch it. He gets it wrong, tries to head it with a little bit of power over.
That's the clearest chance.
Yeah, big chance. That's a big chance. Somebody can head the ball really well. I think that's a definite goal.
Were you expecting Trossard to start today? I wasn't sure if Jorginho would play again in midfield, and indeed, you know, he's brought Havertz back in there, so it is Trossard who's playing as the man through the middle. Back it comes though as Arsenal attack again to Odegaard. Now Saka into the box on the right hand side, clipped across by Martinelli, and then Trossard on the volley, but that's an excellent save. Arola, it wasn't too far away from him, he had to react to his left, but Trossard caught that nicely, right foot on the volley from 12 yards.
It was wonderful play as well. Trossard actually just said, overs, leave it for me, to Havertz. He just dips his head down, and then that sidewinder volley comes round, catches it. Goalkeeper left-handed just pushes it over. It was Martinelli's run initially, right from the left-hand side across, and nobody spotted it. Little play with Saka, and that little dink cross. Martinelli, again, those are the positions you make the difference, but he's that set up again, John.
Yes, this set up for the set piece, set up for the corner, and they've now actually got 5 men who are standing almost shoulder to shoulder, although in saying that, Ben White then wanders forward and takes up a position on the back post. So the delivery from Saka, little steps from him, left-footed corner in. Arola tried to get there, he was blocked. It was headed away, I think, by Alvarez, headed back by West Ham to Saka. in a little shard of sunshine over there, plays it back, and then Trossard helps it across the face of goal, but drops wide of the far post as he was looking at it, and it is a goal kick. But Arsenal could be in front. It is, though, still 0-0 with almost 25 minutes played.
Yeah, it goes out to Saka. Just the ball gets fizzed back in. Trossard another chance from this position here. I'm almost thinking he's that drifting towards the far post, and the angle we got looked better, but when we seen it, well wide. A couple of opportunities there from Arsenal, and could put a slight bit of pressure on West Ham.
Full time in the first of the FA Cup fifth round, the Women's FA Cup matches, 12:30 start. So all over with you, Flo Pollock.
City progressed to the next round of the FA Cup. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 1, a narrow victory. Lale Alexandri's finished from close range, the difference. Controversy right at the end, though. From an Arsenal corner, the City keeper caught the ball that looked well over the line. No VAR, so no way to tell. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 1.
So Manchester City are through. Arsenal attack here in the Premier League. Odegaard through the middle. West Ham backpedaling. Odegaard picks out a low pass to Saka. Right side of the box. Left foot shot, but defenders were back in there. Blocked it away. Sofal jumped and headed it down, and West Ham might now break away as Bowen goes down under the challenge of Gabriel in the centre circle, but Alvarez sensibly kept the ball, but then wastefully gives it away, passed it straight to White.
Yeah, there was a tackle on there, they just took Bowen out.
Gabriel, I think it was, Michael. Here's Saka at the other end approaching, but Emerson in, very good, excellent, good tackle, took the ball away from Saka. But virtually every time West Ham are looking to Bowen, either Gabriel or Saliba is wrestling with Bowen.
And what you need to do as well, forget the ball at times, you just can't run the other side of you, so they're just blocking that off. Here it is again now, he's going to find it tough. Those two all around, he needs that support from the wider areas. It's going to get anywhere, but you know, they wanted a foul.
Oh, nice return pass from Ward-Prowse down the line to Emerson. Emerson's low ball in, deflected off White, and it just ran away off White's shins. Fortunately for Arsenal, straight through to the goalkeeper Raya, who was able to pick it up. That was an opening.
Yeah, big opening. They just tried to cut it back to Jared Bowen. Just a little clap from him. The Arsenal recovery runs were there, but they're promising on the counter. They've got to get a little bit more ball for me, West Ham.
West Ham 0, Arsenal 0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Very pleasant afternoon. Daffodils were out next to the stadium in the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park this morning, which seems to be expanding every time I come here. The building is incredible, the rate of it. See, Sadler's Wells have got an outlet here. The V&A Museum as well as the massive shopping centre. Ben White with the ball in a central area, passes out to Saka on the far side. Saka back to Ben White, and Saka again. West Ham has got everyone apart from Bowen in their defensive third. Comes across to Declan Rice, looks up, decided not to take a shot. Back to Saka again. Saka into the penalty area, then back to Odegaard. Left foot shot deflected. Oh, across the face of goal. Rather like you earlier, Michael. From our position here, I was just thinking, where's that going? But it was deflected wide across the face of goal.
Yeah, they draw you in really well, Arsenal. They overload the edge of the area. You're seeing it there. As it gets deflected away, Souček just gets his body in the way. The guy had good left foot. Again, set pieces, a key. Interesting how many corners already Arsenal have had.
5. This is number 5. And again, all of the players, the Arsenal players lined up. This is one behind each other this time on the far side, as Rice takes it in towards the back post, but West Ham deal with that. That was headed away by Ward-Prowse out towards the right-hand side. Arsenal take up possession again. Odegaard, square from him. Ben White, middle of the West Ham half to Rice, who immediately turns it onto the left-hand side to Martinelli. Not really seen him have a run at the West Ham defenders yet, and he won't here either, because Kudus and Sofal are able to do a job, and then Sofal throws himself down as Martinelli was running away with the ball, arms pumping. Clearly Sofal was caught in the face, but my suspicion would be that he's made rather more of that than there is.
Well, we'll see. We get another chance. There was a certain amount of contact as he just gets away. it's one of those. It's not like an arm or a fist. It's like almost a finger, like a push to the eye. So give him the benefit. If the finger goes in the eye, it would be sore.
You're absolutely right, Michael.
That's the only way.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do that to me there, a bit like Nigel Mansell in that interview all those years ago with Murray Walker.
I'd have hit you on the glasses, John.
You would, actually. I would have had natural defences. As Havertz is picked up for a foul, and it's a free kick it's a free kick conceded by Souček, and a free kick to Arsenal half inside their own half. Right, so Manchester City are through in the Women's FA Cup. What about the Chelsea Crystal Palace tie? Sohail Sahi.
Well, it's 30 minutes played here, John. It's Chelsea the holders nil, Crystal Palace nil. Chelsea with all the play, but they've yet to carve out any clear chances. Crystal Palace are doing well, 0-0.
Lightning break by Arsenal there. Martinelli down the left-hand side, couldn't get the delivery that he wanted into the penalty area. West Ham were able to clear. That's the first time Martinelli's been able to get away down that side of the field. Maybe Souček couldn't see him.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. That was the tactic. Push him in the eye, and then literally you can get in behind. But it was a great run, just misjudged it. At that point, the ball right across the face. People arriving. Odegaard, good late run. Just couldn't get there, but it was one of those when you were off the report, it almost went in, didn't it?
Yeah. Sohail, not Souček, the right back who got that, we think, poke in the eye. 30 minutes played. West Ham 0, Arsenal 0, and Trossard in the centre circle. Been good from Arsenal. Yeah, it's always, as you know, Michael, the performance that Arsenal put in last week, which was a big one to win that match, when there were real doubts in the middle of that game, when Liverpool equalised just before half-time, just after half-time. You know, the big effort that they put in, can they back it up in the following match? That's what they're trying to do here in a difficult away match.
They are trying to do it, and I think they've set about it right. They've controlled the possession, they've had all the shots, the chances really, but they have to be clinical in front of goal.
Havertz to Trossard, swings a left-footed pass out to Saka on the right-hand side. Saka then back to White. White curls it in high, headed away to the edge of the penalty area. Kivior nods it forward under pressure against Kudus. Then back to Kivior, his cross swirls into the chest of Sohail and bounces behind for yet another corner.
Sohail just good position. It's not letting that cross come right across the face, and no wonder West Ham are sitting in, they're waiting, they're trying to be narrow, trying to let Arsenal go around the side, defending central area as well. But the edge of the area is on for this set piece. They've gone right into the rear area of the goals, or front post deliveries, or gone short, but right on the edge there's a few if they get a block on.
Yeah, you'll see this on Match of the Day tonight. You won't be able to fail, because this is the 6th corner. This unusual setup. Rice taking this one in, and it's headed in at the far post. Saliba is the man who runs away, the Arsenal central defender, and the set piece works for Arsenal. West Ham 0, Arsenal 1.
Well, no wonder all the staff from Arsenal are up. They'll want credit for the training ground efforts that they put. Arsenal are in the corner, taking the time, but as it comes across, it was clever really. And I think it was Ben White who just blocks out Arola, so he can't go to the back post, he can't step back any further. And then right on that back post, William Saliba just rises. It's a simple one, just to head it right in to an empty net, because the goalkeeper's gone to go and try and get it, but blocked. And these set pieces that work, everything on the training ground come to light.
Well, I mean, that is set piece getting results there, isn't it?
It's basic.
Again and again, you know, they've gone, as I say, the 6th corner that they've had, this unusual setup, and it's borne fruit.
Well, it has, and then what you say is, you come late, you're always going to do it, and it's always with a zonal. The far post corner is the one that catches you out, the one in behind you, or the runs that you can't necessarily see. But it's the block on the goalkeeper as well, just doesn't allow him to come and collect, it doesn't allow him to move his feet and come back. But again, not just the goalkeeper, it's also actually not enough contact, nobody going near the ball, and even just a simple header.
As Declan Rice now, and he'll get an assist for that, won't he? Declan Rice took the corner, and Declan Rice striding forward with the ball, but then plays it to Saka on the right hand side. So Arsenal in front. They couldn't find a way through against West Ham in the last match of 2023 when they played each other at the Emirates, despite their 30 attempts on goal. Here, crucially, on West Ham's home ground, where they've not lost in their last 10 matches in all competitions. It's Arsenal who are in front and trying to match the wins of Liverpool and Manchester City yesterday, and that's why you can hear their supporters in great voice. Ball played forward down the left-hand side. Sofal gets up, heads it down, but Arsenal are onto that. It's played back towards the halfway line.
No rush now, is that? They're just going to say, right, West Ham, come out, come and have a look. Can you come and take the ball off us? But so many corners, one of them's going to get towards your goal. Far too much territory allowed.
Now they're looking for a second. Odegaard, that goal by the way scored in the 32nd minute. 1-0 Arsenal. White with the cross, that's blocked away by Johnson, and the ball runs out of play into the big ever-changing electronic hoardings on the far side, and Arsenal playing it back towards Saka from the throw. Saka's little ball into the area, a touch from Trossard. Now Odegaard, the captain square. Havertz back towards Declan Rice. Arsenal no let up after the opening goal. It's the same routine. Saka, little glancing header, it hit Zuma, bounced down into the penalty area. West Ham can't get it away. Arsenal swarming all over the claret and blue. Rice stabs it back to Martinelli with the black gloves on. Now back to Kivior. He digs out across to the back post, and Saka, under pressure, heads it 6 yards out across the face of goal and wide.
Yeah, West Ham can't find the feet, can't get out of that penalty area. Good deep cross. Saka coming right across central, 6 yard out. It's under a little bit of pressure. I expected it to find the corner. It doesn't. It just sort of comes back in the direction the ball's delivered, goes wide. But it's a bit of a let-off for West Ham. Another goal. That'd be so damning. But Arsenal playing really well, dominating this game.
So West Ham 0, Arsenal 1. And with that goal, with that William Saliba goal, his second of the season, that means Arsenal have extended their position as the team that have scored more set pieces, scored from more set pieces than any other team in the Premier League this season. Statman Dave was straight onto it on social media. That is number 14 goals from set pieces, and you can see why.
Well, a friend of 5 Live as well, Kevin Nolan, we discussed the other week on the Friday Football Social about the fact that he's in charge of set pieces. He does a lot about them, and we had a good chat, but he'll have been wondering how he stops that. Interesting setup from Arsenal. Yeah,
there'll be a lot of talk about that, won't there? You know, there's imagination in there. It's a little bit of something different. West Ham 0, Arsenal 1, as Saliba, the goal scorer, takes the ball over the halfway line, then gives it to Saka, then back to Ben White. White low to the edge of the penalty area. Havertz, Odegaard, it's all very tight, through to Saka, little stab right across the face of goal as Arola came out. I'm not sure how Saka found space there to get his touch to it, to send it past the oncoming West Ham goalkeeper, but he did. But it just rolled across the face of goal and beyond the far post.
Just stayed on side. He had to wait, delay that run. Odegaard, clever, just look one way, little pass into the path of Saka, goalkeeper coming out, and it was audacious really. It's that like little sort of stab to the ground that just makes the ball just clip over the oncoming goalkeeper, and it was then that weight as the ball just drifted past the post. Great opportunity, wonderful play from Arsenal.
Great noise from the Arsenal fans in the stadium. It's them you can hear, and the home supporters, they'll be less than impressed with this, I must say. Trossard, pass from inside his own half. Saka on the run through the middle. Arola comes out, brings him down. Saka goes down, and the referee
it's a penalty.
Is given a penalty.
I know you're thinking surely. It's got to be. Watch me go early and say, it's a penalty.
Well,
but it has to be, he looked, and I know what you're saying, the way he's directed the yellow card. Is he saying it's a dive, or is he saying it's a penalty?
Well,
but Saka just waits, and then it draws in the goalkeeper, just turn, and the left arm comes out. They'll be having a look at it.
My question is there a quick case for a red card for Arola there?
Well, I think you look straight away. Does he go to play the ball?
No, I don't think.
His arm comes out, but it actually was more of a trip.
Yeah.
His foot just catches Saka as it goes down onto that right foot. They can't overturn the penalty, that's for certain.
No, certainly a penalty. The other question was, how cynical it was from the goalkeeper to take him out. But I think it is yellow card as opposed to red.
Well, I'm looking at it and saying, is it intentional? But it wasn't the arm. But when I see the foot go across, he sort of steps to the ground. We're seeing VAR now, and a little look, but there might be an offside line just running in.
Against Saka. So it was a ball from inside the Arsenal half for Trossard, from Trossard, for Saka to run onto. And the question is whether, in actual fact, Saka was running from an offside position, and whether he'd just gone past the last defender, who was it Soufal?
Yeah, Soufal's on the other side. That's the one that's keeping him on. It was a brilliant run, the timing, no pressure on the ball. He just waits, drifts inside. I think Saka just steps forward. He's not aware of what's around him as well. Obviously Emerson not running, and then under pressure, Saka in those positions. I'm almost thinking he's going to dink it over the goalkeeper, drags it to his right, goalkeeper just catches him, and then big moment now in the game.
Well, interesting was, Saka has got the ball, and as we know, Arsenal have had a whole array of penalty takers this season, and it's onside VAR. We've seen it here in our position. It's not said yet on the screens, but we know that he was onside, Saka, as the ball was played. Therefore it is a penalty, and there it is now on the big screens inside the ground, so the supporters now finally know. And now this is a very interesting one here, because it is Bukayo Saka who's going to take it. And last season, in the 2-2 draw, Saka missed a penalty when Arsenal were leading 2-1. So he missed a penalty here last season.
It's been a long wait as well, John, hasn't it?
And Arsenal did not go on to win the match. And this is for a 2-0 lead before half-time for Arsenal. Bukayo Saka steps back, 3-4 strides, then stands, just moving forward, just swaying from forward and back, one foot to the other. Now he's still. Arola on the line. Little steps now from Saka, and he sends him the wrong way. No mistake this season from the penalty spot for Saka at West Ham, and they take a 2-0 lead. Saka fouled for the penalty, scores from the spot. That, for Bukayo Saka, is his 12th goal of the season for Arsenal, and they're in control here. West Ham 0, Arsenal 2, and the Arsenal fans, you can hear them singing the name of their club.
Yeah, wonderful play. He's the man who made it. The composure was excellent. That little shimmy, that weight, the delay, just 2 foot little steps. He steps forward, sends the goalkeeper as he pulls it to the right hand side, left footed. Arteta just a double clap, big moment, big player in the right place. He was the one who contributed. Fantastic run, and then the weight, and then to just dispatch the penalty with such ease. Just ran off with sort of great aura all about him.
West Ham 0, Arsenal 2. We've got 3.5 minutes of the first 45 to play, and Arsenal, it would seem here, are in complete control. And West Ham, having gone unbeaten in their last 10 matches here, are very much facing what will be only their third home defeat of the season. And Arsenal come forward again. Into the West Ham box it goes, cleared away, just hacked away by Aguerd, and then Bonus sent flying, or at least goes down flying underneath the challenge from Saka, but no free kick. West Ham played out towards the left hand side. Soufal is able to head it forward. Kudus, Arsenal not being able to get him into the game at all. Cleared from Zuma to the edge of the penalty area, headed forward down the left hand side by Trossard. Soufal is there first for West Ham, but clears it up the line, doesn't put it out of play. It's headed forward by Havertz to the edge of the box. Trossard wins the ball ahead of Souček. Trossard now faces the play, knocks the ball past Soufal and is blocked by the West Ham right back, and it's a free kick to Arsenal on the left hand side. Before they take it, let's get another update from the Women's FA Cup, the Chelsea Crystal Palace tie. Sohail Sahi.
2 minutes to play in the first half. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Chelsea still having all of the possession, but they've yet to break down this stubborn Championship side in Crystal Palace. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0.
In the other ties, Wolves 1, Brighton 1, London City 0, Liverpool 1, Southampton 0, Manchester United 1. Free kick to West Ham on the left hand side. They've already scored from one set piece. Declan Rice waiting to take this. He delivered the corner from which Saliba gave Arsenal the lead. Now they've scored twice in the space of 9 minutes and are in an excellent position in the match. Rice, left arm raised, takes it in right foot, great delivery, and it's headed in. Kai Havertz sliding in, Gabriel I think it was with the touch. Super free kick from Declan Rice, Now both central defenders have scored, and it's West Ham 0, Arsenal 3.
Well, it's all about the delivery. There's 3 players centrally on the penalty spot, whether they're in an offside position, but Declan Rice over the ball, just that in-swinger, but it was perfect. All it needed was a little touch. David Moyes having a little look at it, see if there's any hope, because there's in fact 4 players who step back inside, but when you see it again, West Ham player just drops, and it's Ben Johnson, probably plays them all on. And then it's a simple header near post, just down into the ground as he goes off celebrating. Wonderful ball, great set piece yet again from Arsenal.
Could have been any of them, Michael, couldn't it? Gabriel, Havertz, and I think, was it Ben White who was the furthest across? All 3 of them there. And you're right, Ben Johnson was the man who was just playing them onside. That was an easy one for VAR. 3-0, that's confirmed.
Yeah, it was, but the thing for me is the goalkeeper, he's not stepped forward as the ball's delivered, but you've got to stay in that line. You've got to be all together on the same sort of wavelength, that you all drop together, you all come up together. Johnson just literally drifted 3 or 4 steps back, and that just allowed those Arsenal players to be onside.
He hasn't half been in the goals recently, hasn't he? Gabriel scored at Anfield, got a couple of goals in the 5-0 win against Crystal Palace. Now he's scored again, and that is yet another goal from a set piece. So that's now 15 in the Premier League for Arsenal this season, but the delivery from Rice.
And the assist?
Yeah, another assist for Rice. 2 assists.
He's having an enjoyable afternoon, isn't he, a footballer? I said to you, when you go back to your former club, you don't want to lose, you want to do as well as you possibly can. But this will not go down well with these West Ham supporters as well, because they sat in. They didn't come out, they waited, tried to be solid, tried to be hard to beat. What will really annoy David Moyes is because of that organisation, those demands. His sides generally are much better than that, and they're up against set pieces.
Yeah, he'll be cross, won't he, David Moyes? Prides himself on his organisation, and Arsenal have just been too good. Their creation and what they've been able to do with their set pieces has outdone West Ham and their defending of them. And so West Ham now surely on their way to their first defeat here in this stadium since October. Many empty seats have appeared. I think people have gone for a stiff drink probably, as Arsenal play the ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Havertz is after that. That's headed away by Zuma. Arsenal again.
They're in trouble here. They've got to get hold of the ball. They've got to either do something or sit in, because they're getting blocked, they're getting moved around, and this could be a really, really long day. Someone in the middle of the pitch or centre-backs have got to get hold of the situation quickly.
Arsenal again take up possession, middle of the West Ham half, first to everything. Havertz gets there in midfield ahead of Alvarez. Now Trossard is in, scores onto his right foot. Arola diving to his left, couldn't get close to it with his hand, and it's 4-0 before half-time. And West Ham fans, thousands of them around the stadium, on their feet, walking towards the exits. I mean, I presume they're going for a half-time break here, but they might not be back. This is embarrassing for David Moyes and his team. West Ham 0, Arsenal 4 in added time at the end of the first half, and now Trossard joins the scorers.
Oh, you talk about clinical, you talk about world-class moves from a side, and it's that man, sort of Odegaard, as he steps forward, left-footed. It was a brilliant pass outside of the foot, and Trossard just brings it inside. Accuracy, direction, he just opens onto his right foot and just bends it, curls it. Arola just pushing it right into the top corner, almost gets it. It's a sensational finish, and just as expected, Arsenal kept coming, West Ham crumbling.
Well, this reflects very well on Arsenal, the way that they've been able to back up the victory against Liverpool last Sunday afternoon. But for West Ham, there will clearly be recriminations here. The West Ham supporters, as we know, there is a vocal minority, I think you would probably call it, who have quite strongly felt that West Ham should turn the page and move on from David Moyes, and that without question will gain momentum with this scoreline, which will surely lead to a defeat on the day for West Ham. And it's a question of how bad it's going to get. You said, Michael Brown, just a few moments before the fourth goal, that this could become very bad for West Ham.
Yeah, they've got to find something this side, and It's not easy when you're on there, you're feeling sorry for yourself, but you've just got to narrow up, get hold of each other, because if not, you're in for a big score, John.
Yeah.
And that's the point, and they desperately need to get down that tunnel. David Moyes is going to go crazy.
We're in the 4th minute of added time, so there are 7 minutes to be added on.
As soon as I seen that 7, I'm thinking, oh no.
Yeah, 7 minutes. So we've still got a couple of minutes to play. You know, if Arsenal wanted to, they could go for a 5th here before the break.
And look how many of them want the ball now from Arsenal. I'll have it, I'll do something, I'm not bothered if I lose it. We're 4 up. It's just stuff of dreams to be playing in the Premier League, 4 up, half time. I'm
not sure these people who've left their seats are going to be coming back, you know. There's Arsenal over the halfway line. I mean, there are probably thousands of empty seats around the stadium in the home sections.
I think they might have gone for a stiff drink, John.
Well,
just
maybe
to have a little look.
Maybe a stiff drink, or maybe they've headed to Stratford Station.
Yeah, we're just getting some pictures now.
Oh yeah, I see that, and they've gone beyond the bars inside the ground. They've gone past the bars and out of the exit gates, and there are West Ham fans swarming out of the ground in their thousands. You know, that's no exaggeration.
I think as well it's a London derby and it's pride, isn't it? You know, that's the point, going into work tomorrow, etc. It'll be the laughing stock. David Moyes just hand on his chin, handing his little finger in his mouth, wondering how do I make this better? Where's the positives from it? What could I do at half time? He's almost got a glazed tear in his eye, John.
This is the team that are 8th in the Premier League. They're 8th in the league. And yes, I know that the argument will be as well, David Moyes produced a trophy last season, Europa Conference League.
But there's so much negativity around the place regarding the style, David Moyes, etc. We could talk, and we have done so long, about David Moyes' contract. It's not a positive situation, and this is not going to help when this starts to happen in the game, because these results turn into problems.
West Ham in possession. We are now in the 6th minute of added time at the end of the first half, but 4 goals for Arsenal. Saliba, Saka's penalty, Gabriel and Trossard, the goal scorers. And they've just been outplayed by Mikel Arteta's side, who are looking at 4 wins in a row and also moving back up alongside Manchester City.
Big statement as well to Liverpool, Manchester City, this type of performance.
Yeah. Well, I was talking on breakfast on 5 Live this morning about how simply Arsenal had to do this, because we know that Manchester City have won every match that they've played for 2 months now. So really, in comparison to that, a 3-match winning run for Arsenal, it's nothing.
They're going to have to keep going all the way. They know that with the other 2 teams, but obviously keeping you busy up at breakfast as well as all afternoon. Yeah, on a Sunday. Never stop, John.
We never close. Boring Arsenal. No Arsenal fans are leaving, that's for sure. I mean, this could be some sort of record total. We'll have to get the record books out at half time. But there's the whistle. Listen to this. The boos from the home supporters, who are still inside the ground. And let me tell you, thousands have left and aren't coming back. And 4-0 at the break. Just looking for David Moyes down there, but I think he's disappeared very quickly down the tunnel. There will be some harsh words.
Yeah, this is one of those moments you go and sit down in that dressing room and you know there's no way back. You almost want that final whistle. You say, can we end there now? Can we come back another day? But unfortunately, you've got to get back out on that pitch. You've got to find a way of stopping, taking a positive, taking something that can take you forward. This is the worst moment as a player on your home stadium as well, to have to go back out and face even more of it.
And the question, Michael, as well, how good would you say Arsenal have been to get this scoreline?
I do think that the possession, the movement has been very, very good. But these set pieces change games, and ultimately that first one, but it wasn't just one. There was too many territory. Was it 6 or 7? They finally get the breakthrough. So that needed to be stopped much earlier than it had done. West Ham needed to come out, needed to get hold of the ball. I actually said early on, didn't I? They need to get some ball. They need to circulate it. Need to move it around a little bit. They didn't. It just kept coming, and then they went to pieces.
So at half time, And I'm sure there are many more West Ham fans who are leaving their seats and heading to the exits. I mean, we're seeing the pictures now from outside of the ground around the West Ham stadium. They're not coming back. I mean, there are hundreds, thousands of them streaming out of the ground. After a first half which has ended, West Ham United 0, Arsenal 4.
And I imagine, John, you're right, they are fearing the record books. Do you want me to give them to you? I've just found a couple of them.
That would be handy.
And I know that I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you want Premier League era or all-time, John?
You don't even need to ask that question.
No, I don't. Arsenal's biggest away win in the league, 7-1, Aston Villa, December 14th, 1935. There you go.
Okay.
And in the Premier League, for what it's worth, they've got 2 6-1 victories at Middlesbrough in 1999. And I remember this at Everton early in the season in 2009 when they went there and absolutely thumped them 6-1. Just on West Ham, Michael, very poetic, if I may say, a glazed tear in the eye of David Moyes. I mean, I wonder what on earth he is going to say now.
It's tough, but he's been there. The experience that he's got, he'll know how to handle it, he'll know what to say, all the right things, and that's what the experience gives you of such a long-term manager. And it'll be one of his low points, because that pressure that's mounting at West Ham, of the situation, of the style of play, the length of term that he will be here, and I think he's done an unbelievable job. But this type of thing is not helping the situation. The West Ham supporters can't be convinced, and as I said, when I seen the setup, they had to do well, they had to be in and around the game. When you sort of submit and accept that the away side are going to come here and have that possession, but they've been well and truly outplayed, outclassed, outfought on set pieces in different areas, and that is the biggest concern, because for me, a West Ham side have always got that fight, that desire, determination, organisation in certain areas, and they haven't done that, and it just got worse and worse, and it was almost like, can we get in at half-time at 2-0, ended up 4.
On the set pieces, you know, we're in an era now, obviously. I mean, we've got Aston Villa at Villa Park later with Austin McPhee, who everybody knows, great set piece coach and what have you. But actually, Arsenal's set piece goals today, they've not been clever routines, they've just been outstanding deliveries. Yeah,
good deliveries, Declan Rice involved, and there was a couple of times where you were waiting for that delivery and they went short, Steve. And I said on one of them that the whole edge of the area is wide open as well, that West Ham have thought, well, do you know what, we'll all sit in, we'll circulate the 6-yard box in that area, and they had to think quickly. But yeah, deliveries are good, people attacking, you can't see it when you're in a zonal situation, but difficult situation. That man Calvin Phillips is on the pitch now having a warm-up, and I'm thinking, if I'm him, I'd rather sit on the bench and wait for the next one.
And just so you've got it written down, John, the record home defeat for West Ham.
I was hoping you were going to come on to that.
Well,
He's been scouring everywhere.
I thought I would leave that one till last.
Steve. His bag's just come up where all the oracles in there. So.
Boxing Day, 1963.
Yeah.
West Ham United 2, Blackburn Rovers 8.
2-8.
Did you do that game, John?
I think I was somewhere else that day.
One of us was going to make that job, Michael, and frankly, I'm pleased it was you.
I waited for a bit as well.
Thank you very much for the time being, chaps. Wow, West Ham 0, Arsenal 4. Loads of West Ham fans we've just seen on the cameras leaving the stadium. What an incredible first half for Arsenal. We were only speaking earlier about what they need to do today, responding to their rivals' victories on Saturday. Well, they've had an unbelievable first half. Loads of other great football going on this afternoon as well. Let's take you into the Women's FA Cup next. Chelsea Crystal Palace, half-time there. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, half-time, Steve. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Crystal Palace, they've defended well, denying the holders any clear chances at goals. It's been all Chelsea, though, with Crystal Palace hanging on and proving to be very durable. Emma Hayes' side should be looking for Chelsea to shift up a gear or two in the second half. Otherwise, we're heading to extra time. But it's half-time, Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0.
In the Scottish Premiership half-time, Dundee 0, St Johnstone 1. We're still 8 or 9 games away from the league splitting, but for what it's worth, that would take St Johnstone up into the top half. In the Scottish Cup this afternoon, half-time in the game between St Mirren and Celtic. Ailey Barber.
And it is St Mirren 0, Celtic 1, but I don't know how the home side are behind. They've been by far the most impressive, working so hard on and off the ball, but they trail thanks to a very quick Celtic break. Palma finding Kyogo to side-foot it into the net. There is a vulnerability to this Celtic side right now. St Mirren's Alex Gogic saw one effort come back off the bar and an audacious overhead kick superbly tipped round the post by Joe Hart, while Greg Kilty was denied by a last-ditch Stephen Welsh block. St Mirren, they've been by far the better side, but it's goals that win games, and that Kyogo finish, a positive in what has been another underwhelming 45 from Brendan Rodgers' side. At the break, it is St Mirren 0, Celtic 1.
Earlier in the Championship, it finished Coventry City 2, Millwall 1. USA international Haji Wright with both goals for Coventry, who had trailed earlier in the game. That moves them into the top 6 in the Championship. In the Women's FA Cup, full times, Arsenal 0, Manchester City 1. Wolves 1, Brighton 4. London City Lionesses half-time with Liverpool. Liverpool lead by a goal to 0. Half-time, Southampton 0, Manchester United 1. You've heard about Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. And at 4 o'clock, it is Nottingham Forest of the third tier against Women's Super League side Everton. And you are up to date. We'll make our first trip of the day to Villa Park shortly ahead of Aston Villa Manchester United at 4:30. And then we'll be back for second half commentary at the London Stadium, where it is West Ham United 0, Arsenal 4. We'll do all of that after the news with Joe Hornby.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The head of NATO has strongly dismissed suggestions by Donald Trump that some members of the alliance don't deserve to be protected by the US because they spend too little on defence. Jens Stoltenberg said the idea NATO countries wouldn't honour their commitment to defend each other put American and European soldiers at increased risk. The White House has called former President Trump's comments unhinged. Israel is facing growing international alarm over its planned offensive in Rafah, the city in southern Gaza, where about 1.5 million displaced Palestinians live. The United Nations, the UK and several other countries have warned of dire consequences if a ground operation goes ahead. Speaking to ABC TV in the US, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised that people would be given safe passage to leave. When pressed on where they'd be able to go, he replied that Israel was working on it.
We're not cavalier about this. This is part of our war effort to get civilians out of harm's way. It's part of Hamas's effort to keep them in harm's way. But we've so far succeeded, and we're going to succeed again. Those who say that under no circumstances should we enter Rafah are basically saying, lose the war, keep Hamas there.
The Body Shop is set to appoint administrators in the UK this week. It's understood that trading over Christmas and into the new year wasn't as strong as hoped. The restructuring of the business is likely to result in job losses and the closure of stores. It currently has more than 200 branches across Britain. BBC analysis shows bosses at the technology firm Fujitsu were paid more than £1 million a year on average while overseeing the Horizon contract that led to the post office scandal. The company has apologised to the wrongfully convicted sub-postmasters and said it would contribute to compensation. And Sinead O'Connor, who died last year, aged 56, has been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame alongside Cher, Ozzy Osbourne and Oasis. There are 15 nominated acts in total. The winners will be announced in April.
NFL on BBC Radio 5 Live. Super Bowl 58.
Snap, placement, it's good!
Tonight from 11, the Kansas City Chiefs take on the San Francisco 49ers in Las Vegas.
Shotgun, Mahomes, pump and throw to the end zone. Handled by Kelsey for the touchdown. With a comeback for the ages, the 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl 58.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
And we'll get back to the football after we've been to Dublin. The final game of this weekend's Six Nations action is Ireland against Italy. We're underway. Sarah Mulkerrins.
Yeah, and after Ireland blew their World Cup cobwebs away with a record victory over France last week, they're looking to continue their bid to become the first team to win back-to-back Grand Slam titles in the Six Nations era. Italy arrive as the undoubted underdogs. It's been 27 years since they got their only win over Ireland in Dublin, but under new manager Gonzalo Caseda, they have showed good stuff. They led England 17-8 at the break last week before eventually losing, and they have welcomed back speedy foot full-back Ange Capuozza into the team. He will cause problems, but they are down 2 influential players in their pack in Sebastian Negri and Lorenzo Cannone. While Andy Farrell, he made 6 changes for Ireland. Notably, Caelan Doris is in as captain in the absence of Peter O'Mahony, and Craig Casey starts at scrum half, partnering his Munster teammate Jack Crowley, who starts again at 10 in life after Johnny Sexton for Ireland. We have just kicked off, no scores so far.
Thank you very much, Sarah. After we're done in East London, we'll be off to Villa Park, Manchester United, the visitors, 4:30 kick-off, full commentary here on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. Ali Bruce Ball is there for us. Afternoon, Ali.
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Yeah, very good, thanks. This is the biggest test, is it, of the Manchester United resurgence?
Well, you and I spoke last week, didn't we, after the Manchester United-West Ham commentary, when Manchester United made it back-to-back wins in the Premier League. They got that late winner from Kobbie Mainoo at Molineux to win 4-3, followed it up with a really controlled, dominant performance against West Ham last Sunday. And I think our sort of closing words to each other were, right, let's see in the next couple of games then, are these green shoots? Is this something a little bit more different, bit more consistent? Villa here and then Luton away next weekend is definitely going to be a test for them. They do look more settled. Lisandro Martinez in that game last Sunday was obviously fallen on by Vladimir Sofal and has picked up another injury and will miss today, so that'll rock the boat slightly. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think particularly as well, Steve, you go back to Aston Villa's wins towards the end of last year, those home wins when they were absolutely flying and beat Arsenal and Manchester City here in the space of a week. And then since then, in the 4 home games played since then, a draw against Sheffield United. They beat Burnley but needed a late winner in that one. Lost to Newcastle, a game we did commentary on 5 Live midweek, and then lost to Chelsea, of course, in the FA Cup. So in terms of the home form, they're not quite where they were. But I was quite struck by Unai Emery's programme notes today, and he was talking about sort of being at the training ground this week and almost, I think, reminding the Aston Villa players, just sort of trying to remind them how well they've done and how good they are. So he says we are in 4th position in the greatest league in the world. Now, they're obviously in 5th starting today, but when that was written, that was right. Nobody gave us these points for free. They are not a gift fallen from the sky or a late Christmas present. We earned it in every match we played. So maybe just trying to reinforce the message to his players. You deserve to be where you are. Let's get back on it today.
And I suppose it's the ideal game for them in that sense, in that, I mean, for many, many, many years, Aston Villa fans had awful experiences of playing Man United at home. It's only in the last year or so that they ended that ridiculous run of over a decade, I think it was, without having beaten Manchester United at home. They're a massive club, but if you can get back on track against them, that could almost be double bubble for Villa.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. And I actually think, with the cup game against Chelsea going into that one, given what had happened to Chelsea in recent games, everyone was making Aston Villa favourites. I would still make Villa favourites today, but I think the fact that Manchester United come here with a spring in their step, and you're right, they are, however they're playing Manchester United, they are considered a big scalp. I mean, Unai Emery's first game in charge actually last season was here against Manchester United and ended that ridiculous run with a 3-1 win, and they've barely looked back since. So I think you're right. I think this is the perfect game for them to sort of stop this little run of home performances which haven't quite been up to scratch and get it going again. And they start the day, of course, they're 8 points above Manchester United, and if 5th place does get Champions League football next season, it's an important game from that point of view. Villa in 5th and Manchester United in 6th.
Thank you very much, Ali. Aston Villa, Man United in full at 4:30. The contest may already be over at the London Stadium, but Rice versus Phillips is about to get underway. John Murray.
Yes, it is. Declan Rice standing there just watching Calvin Phillips running out onto the field. So 4-0 down at half-time, and David Moyes says to Calvin Phillips, on you go, to replace Edson Alvarez. And also the captain Kurt Zuma has been substituted, which may be an injury, of course, but if it's not, then that is quite a statement. And it is Konstantinos Mavropanos, the former Arsenal man, who has come on into central defence to replace Kurt Zuma. See if I can see who's got the captain's armband now. It's virtually impossible from this commentary position, which is probably the furthest away at any stadium, but we'll try and work that out for you. But West Ham making 2 changes. Michael Brown, we thought it might have been more.
Yeah, we did. We were watching more warm-up, going through the routines, and I was making a sly joke, wasn't I, roughly saying, I'm not sure you want to go on at this stage, 4-0, but we'll see how they get on, see how they improve. That's something they've got to do. So the first half was so bad.
Yeah, So West Ham 0, Arsenal 4, but Arsenal on the attack, West Ham on the attack, down the right-hand side, it's chipped across, but Arsenal are back in numbers, and it was overhit anyway, as it was taken on down into the penalty area by Jared Bowen, and Arsenal on the attack. And the other thing is, as you can probably tell by the atmosphere, you know, it is rather echoey as Arsenal attack. The ball pulled across, Trossard on his left foot, but skies the shot. And it lands almost in the stands, and he puts his hands to his face. Scored a very fine goal in the first half, very good finish, but that was nowhere near.
And he took it off Odegaard's foot as well. Good work down that left hand side. Martinelli driving. This is a big chance, and the ball cuts back. He has to sort of come back and then pivot, try and turn. It goes right into the sky, but that would have been disastrous. But exaggerating when we're saying half the stadium have left, John.
I think they probably have. Maybe, well, certainly thousands. Thousands have left the West Ham stadium before and at half-time and have not come back. And there are empty white seats, very obvious, and claret seats and blue seats all around the home sections. And the Arsenal fans are absolutely loving it. 4 goals they scored in the space of 15 minutes in the last part of the first half. Saliba, the penalty from Saka, Gabriel and Trossard. 2 of them from Declan Rice, set pieces, 1 from a corner, 1 from a free kick. And it is, for West Ham now, just a question of making this look as respectable as they possibly can, as the ball's played up towards the halfway line for Arsenal. The other thing you need to know as well, Premier League football on 5 Live, but also Six Nations commentary now on Sports Extra. It is underway in Dublin. You can hear the match. There's a simulcast, as we call it, on BBC on Sports Extra with our friends from BBC Radio Ulster, as Arsenal attack with Saka. White on the overlap, but in slides Emerson. He's able to get the tackle in, but Arsenal are back in possession. Saka running it away and slipping the ball forward towards White, who is onside, and White chips it across, headed away by Egard at the near post. Comes out to Saka again. Arsenal looking for a 5th goal. This is ruthless from them. There's no letting up, and Saka playing it in left-footed, and Martinelli with a header that drops wide of the top right corner. So more from Michael Brown in a moment, but let's first of all go to Dublin and see what's happening in the Ireland-Italy match with Sarah Mulkerrins.
Yeah, 9 minutes gone and it's Ireland 5, Italy 0. Jack Crowley in at 10, finished off some lovely early pressure from Ireland where they were using the width of the pitch really nicely. He punched the ground in delight after dotting down. He did miss the conversion though. It's Ireland 5, Italy 0.
Thank you very much, Sarah. So as I say, commentary on that right now on Sports Extra. Aston Villa against Manchester United to come, but Arsenal in the luminous yellow shirts. West Ham's players, David Moyes, they'll be having nightmares about these yellow shirts with the wavy black lines tonight. Here's Odegaard playing it at the edge of the area. Havertz left foot shot, but that is wide of the foot of the post. And already in the second half, Arsenal have had 2 attempts at goal. Michael Brown.
Yeah, clinical, really good at moving people around, creating space, back foot takes. As it opens up, Havertz on that left foot, just tries to get a strike, just pulls it near post, but what's the reaction going to be? What can West Ham do to come back, to take something from it? But the atmosphere is quiet, players need to get on the ball, and it's interesting that they've already made a couple of changes. How's it going to affect? But Arsenal have come out, taking control, moving the ball around.
Yes, it is Arsenal as they started, with Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Kivior, Odegaard, Rice and Havertz, Saka, Trossard and Martinelli. No Gabriel Jesus, no Zinchenko, as White sends a pass cross-field, but Sofal's underneath that and able to head it back to his goalkeeper. So Areola in goal for West Ham. He conceded a penalty in the first half. Back 4 now, Sofal, substitute Mavropanos, Agard and Emerson. And then in midfield, Calvin Phillips and Souček, Ben Johnson on the left, Kudus on the right, and Ward-Prowse behind Jared Bowen. Still 1-0 to Celtic, by the way, in the Scottish Cup. So just in fact 2-0. I see there's a second goal gone in. So St Mirren 0, Celtic 2. We'll have news of that in due course. But West Ham 0, Arsenal 4 is the scoreline here. And the Arsenal supporters singing their songs. They're in party mood. Whereas in the home sections, there are still West Ham fans, I notice, in front of us coming back to their seats. But the mood in the home sections, in contrast, is funereal. Havertz actually beaten to it on the edge of the box by Kudus. West Ham now, as they attack from right to left, attacking towards the Bobby Moore stand end of the ground. Kudus with a shot, comes out to Johnson. His shot is also blocked, just like Kudus' initial effort was. And Arsenal now, Havertz tried to slip the ball past Mavropanos, who was able to get a touch. Now he has Havertz again, ball out towards the far side, where in comes the challenge on Trossard, and it's out of play for a throw-in on the halfway line. Michael Brown, just going back to the first half, you know, would you say that Arsenal were irresistible? Would you say they were irresistible in the first half?
No, I wouldn't. I think they were good at what they did. They moved themselves around, got in good positions, forced sort of set pieces that you wouldn't have obviously notably noticed. This setup was key to the first goal, obviously getting that set piece away finally. But it was more like attractive, nice, but not like ruthless, fizzing it past the post and shots onto the goalkeeper. But it was more like territory, John. And then they just, actually, once they got that first goal, set pieces came, and then West Ham couldn't get near anybody. The one really that was the special one was the Trossard goal that was carved open, and then he just curled it into the top corner. But it's about set pieces, about switching on, it's about the understanding. West Ham didn't get the ball though, John.
No, let's get the details on that second Celtic goal in the Scottish Cup. Ailey Barber.
Well, after a very lacklustre first half, Celtic sprung into action in the second half. A crossfield pass from Palma found O'Reilly. His effort came back off the crossbar, but Maeda was there to smash it home and give Celtic most likely a place in the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup. It is St Mirren 0, Celtic 2. Trossard
for Arsenal, but after dummying the first effort, then overhit the second through for a goal kick. And do you detect an improvement from West Ham in any regard?
I'm trying to find a positive at this moment in time, and Mikel Arteta, David Moyes at the front of the technical areas, and West Ham decide not to go short, go long. First goal kick, something getting in and around and something into a better position, better area, but they've not even got first contact as Arsenal just try and come out, but they get it. Now what happens? They lose the ball, they've got to be better.
Kudus on a weaving run, the ball's actually run to Bowen. Declan Rice has gone with him down in the left back area. Former West Ham captain up against his former teammates. Comes back centrally, Kudus clips it out to the left hand side. Emerson's here, the West Ham left back. Emerson, left footed ball centrally. It's played square from Calvin Phillips, who must say looks rather unusual with a number 11 on his back, as the ball's played forward up the right hand side by Sofal. Calvin Phillips coming on as a substitute, as he did at Old Trafford last week. West Ham beaten 3-0 at Old Trafford, and here they are 4-0 down at home to Arsenal. And West Ham in possession inside their own half and trying to make some sort of inroad into this big Arsenal lead. Aguerd's pass forward, but that's overhit and it's bounced through to Raya, who's able to collect it on the edge of the penalty area. So I think we know exactly what's going to happen next. I mean, there will be the reaction to this from the section of West Ham supporters who feel that David Moyes' time is up. Well, it's going to be louder than ever.
I just think it's a big second half for the football club, for these players, that they've got to show heart, they've got to show some fight and find a way to, can they score a goal, can they put Arsenal under any sort of pressure, can they be brave on the ball at least, move Arsenal around, because we're completely dominated, weren't they, in that 15 minutes. Once that first goal went in, they sort of right, well, we're done for, we can't do anything about it, but we've got a chance to take something from this game.
Yeah, and as our producer George pointed out at half-time, Arsenal have in the past not won from being 4-0 up in a Premier League match, the famous game at St James's Park, which ended 4-4, but there is little sign of that kind of thing happening today. Declan Rice, this Arsenal team, you feel, just would not allow anything like that to happen from this position. Havertz through the middle, but that breaks down with his pass infield. And I suppose that's the danger for Arsenal now, is that they become complacent.
Yeah, they will be, John. That's natural as well. So you could get a slightly false performance in the second half, where Arsenal say, OK, we're safe, we'll just sit, we'll wait, delay and get chances wherever we possibly can, but not force it, John.
Calvin Phillips with a pass over the top through the middle. Kudus goes down after colliding with Gabriel. The ball bounced all the way through to goalkeeper Raya, but referee Craig Pawson is concerned enough to come across and see how Ben Johnson it is actually who had that collision, but he's all right.
It was just an elbow, wasn't it? It was an elbow slightly into. Let's get another look. There's a slight elbow into his face. He just falls down. Referee just waits, delays the play, but strange, isn't it? Can you those Arsenal supporters, West Ham, very quiet as expected. There's more drifted in, as you've said, but they'll want a big reaction. Something's got to change this second half to convince these supporters that, you know, these players, the manager, etc., the style has got a future.
Well, put it this way: those West Ham fans who went to the bars and the various stalls at half-time within the stadium have not rushed back, and even now many of them are just retaking their seats with already 12 minutes gone of the second half. Arsenal on the attack. No further scoring since half-time if you've just joined us here on 5 Live. Saka playing the ball forward to Martinelli on the right-hand side. Martinelli still with gloves on, although this is a mild afternoon. Now Odegaard slips it into the penalty area, back to Saka through the middle, keeping his feet and shooting, saved by Arola, and then the attempt from the arriving Kivior. He couldn't get the clean shot on target, but a good save from Arola from Saka.
Oh, it's a brilliant move, everybody involved. That reverse pass, Odegaard into Saka, into the area, the little sets, and as he's drifting across the face, I'm thinking, is he going to get tackled, is he going to lose the ball? Stays up, gets that snapshot away, good right-handed save.
And then a foul in the centre circle and a free kick to Arsenal. Saka already on the score sheet. Incidentally, that penalty that he scored in the first period was his 50th Arsenal goal, so he reached a milestone with that. Bukayo Saka, and the Arsenal fans, he's such a favourite, will be confident that at some stage in his career he'll get to 3 figures. Here's Havertz on the right hand side, then Ben White. White turns back to Trossard, who puts his foot on it, then rolls his foot over the ball, then a touch from Odegaard, then Havertz, then the shot from Martinelli, but a crowded penalty area, it was blocked at source. However, Odegaard now, low ball across, that's cleared away from near the penalty spot by Souček. Arsenal, again, intricate passing inside the penalty area. This spells danger for West Ham, although in the end, the ball is won back on the edge of the box, and West Ham do break away towards the halfway line. So Saka then wins the ball back. Brilliant. From Calvin Phillips.
Absolutely brilliant. The laser coming out now, John. What about the little movements in the penalty area? Those little give and goes, 1-2s, and it's that composure under pressure. Nice little touches, and Trossard just trying to make it happen and trying to get into some space. And the guy getting forward. Martinelli coming off the line, and Saka just joining in. This is the time to play football, isn't it? If you want to showboat, you want to show your skills and enjoy your football, it doesn't get any better.
Even given the fact that West Ham were on a 6-match run in all competitions without a win coming into this, it looked like a tricky fixture for Arsenal.
Because West Ham do that, they get results, they surprise you, they're hard to beat. Not today, I know that. And those set pieces that have contributing such a big way to the downfall, but you know, it's interesting, isn't it, the performance of Arsenal, what this will give them if it's a big score at the end.
As Calvin Phillips is adjudged to have fouled Ben White on the halfway line, and it's a free kick to Arsenal. David Moyes, who's down there on the edge of the coaching area, for those who don't know, his contract runs until the end of this season, but over the course of recent months there has been quite a bit of talk that he might potentially be given a 2-year extension. But
it still hasn't come.
No.
And why is that then, John? Why has it not happened already? That's the mystery to me.
And the reaction has been from many West Ham supporters that maybe after the time that he's had in the job, since 2019, you know, so he was manager through the COVID years, and some excellent finishes in the Premier League, as West Ham now win the ball back in the centre of the field. Aguerd playing it across towards Mavropanos, And Mavropanos, who did score actually, if you remember, for West Ham in the win against his former club in December, up towards the edge of the penalty area. The central defender still going. He thought about a shot, but Arsenal are back there in numbers, and Mavropanos is dispossessed, although wins it back actually, credit to him, with a foul, says referee Pawson. So it's a free kick to Arsenal, 10 yards inside their own half. Half an hour to go, and the good news for West Ham supporters is they've not let any more goals in so far in the second half.
Well, that is a positive. We said we've got to try and take some from it. Mavropanos there had 3 or 4 Arsenal players around him. Declan Rice, he's got a limp, he's been caught, he's not happy. Jared Bowen just asking the question, is he alright? His former teammate, but you know, it's an Arsenal point of view, they won't take many risks, will they? If there's somebody with an injury when you've got this scoreline.
Yeah, this game is won for Arsenal with the mood around the place. You know, I'm always reticent to write matches off too early, but this would be a surprise of monumental proportions if it's anything other than a handsome win for Arsenal.
Unless our producer George knows different. He knows the capital, he knows what to expect in these games.
Yeah, it's disappearing down into his coat.
I thought he might be, yeah.
Ball played infield to Saka. Saka then picks out a pass to the left-hand side, and that's the thing about this Arsenal team. They do look hungry for more. You know, they are not going to show West Ham any sympathy here. Goal difference could be important. And Arsenal have already improved theirs from plus 25 this morning to plus 29. And now here's Saka onto his left foot, buries it! Brilliant! Cut inside 2 West Ham men. Bukayo Saka scores his second of the match. And Arsenal hit 5 goals away from home at West Ham. And this time they're able to celebrate in front of their own supporters. West Ham 0, Arsenal 5. Great for Arsenal. A sorry scoreline for David Moyes and for yet more West Ham fans who are leaving their seats and heading home.
That's a wonderful ability. Declan Rice in the move. Odegaard, fantastic. Little outside of the foot pass. And what Saka does, he's aware of the situation behind him. He receives it on the half turn, steps into the space, and then just jinks left-footed. Goes to go far post. Goalkeeper steps to the right, and he just reverses it late into the near post. Sensational finish. Wonderful goal. What a team performance from Arsenal.
It's amazing, isn't it, how often we see Bukayo Saka do that, cutting infield onto his left foot. Everyone knows, defenders know he's going to do that, yet for some reason he's still able to do it.
Well, he's quick, John, and he knows exactly. He steps that one to the right, you cover the space, then he's still got a lot to do. So even if he pushes it onto his left, the goalkeeper expects him to curl it far post, which we've seen him do it so many times, but he's got that much space that he just chops it last minute near post. It's wonderful composure, great finish. And in our pictures, David Moyes, as the camera just pans right into him, looking for him to see what his reaction is. These players, it's the last thing they wanted. It said take something from the second half, but once you concede, that's trouble.
So it's now West Ham 0, Arsenal 5. 5-0 at home. So David Moyes just has to stand and watch this with his hands in his pockets on the edge of the coaching area. This will be painful. It's joyous for Arsenal and their supporters, who are in great voice now. They've seen Bukayo Saka score 2 goals, so that's his total for the season, up to 13, and he's now reached 10 in the Premier League. And here he is now on a hat-trick. Saka playing it through into the penalty area for Martinelli. On the chase, now back into White inside the box. He tees it up to the edge of the area, and then Rice! Oh, now Declan Rice has scored! Oh, that rubs salt in the West Ham wounds from 25 yards. He caught it superbly. He doesn't want to celebrate. He immediately indicates that for the West Ham fans, that the one thing Declan Rice will not be doing is making this any worse than it already is. But Rice scores now, and now it's West Ham 0, Arsenal 6.
Well, you've been in football for such a long time, and I think things don't shock me anymore. But I'm sat here witnessing this. They're carving West Ham yet again. They're playing with him. Ben White into the area, little jing. 2 players queuing up to try and score. They miss it. It rolls even further away to Declan Rice. We talk about him being a 6. We've talked about him contributing, driving forward, but this is also something else he can do. Right-footed, 25 yards out, just curls it, that reverse into the far top corner, runs off to the Arsenal supporters, arms down, saying, I can't celebrate, but inside there'll be some fire, determination. Another wonderful moment for Declan Rice in his career, and the Arsenal 6-up.
The former West Ham captain, the man who lifted the trophy for West Ham last season, scores Arsenal's 6th goal. And now Arsenal are making a triple change. Bukayo Saka, he won't get his hat-trick here. Saka is off and Declan Rice is coming off as well. And the Arsenal supporters obviously giving Declan Rice a great ovation, but what should be added to that is that many of the West Ham fans down here in the West Stand in the lower section are also applauding Declan Rice off. So that tells you, we heard the boos for Declan Rice at the start of the match, but there are plenty of West Ham fans who are appreciative of the time that he had here.
Top quality from those West Ham supporters. 6-0 down, he's just scored against you, but they were all up giving him a round of applause to say, we're here, wonderful performance that you've given, and what you've given to West Ham, real class from the supporters under this sort of pressure.
So Saka is off, Trossard is off, and Rice is on. And I have to say, watching the reaction to Declan Rice, and he actually, I see just leaning forward and actually acknowledging that applause as well from the West Ham fans. So Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson and Mohamed El Neni are on. So Mohamed El Neni, who is involved in Egypt's disappointing Africa Cup of Nations, makes his return for Arsenal. So it's almost a rugby score here. West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. Let's find out what the actual rugby score is in Dublin with Sarah Mulkerrins.
Yeah, 28 minutes gone and it's Ireland 12, Italy 0. Another try for the home side made from the Irish scrum pressure in the Italian half, releasing their backs who went right, then they went left, the width of the pitch, and it was hooker Dan Sheehan who dotted it down, converted by Jack Crowley. It's Ireland 12, Italy 0.
So 12-0 there. The commentary on that is on Sports Extra right now, if you want to follow that.
John, I know you've been busy just looking at a few stats, and it's starting to get that time, isn't it, with this type of performance?
It is.
6-0 away. Start lining them up, because we could be witnessing something special from Arsenal.
Yeah, not so special for West Ham, because already now this means that the record, the margin of victory for Arsenal and the margin of defeat, i.e. 6 goals, that equals the club records for Arsenal's biggest win away from home in the league and for West Ham's heaviest defeat. So it's currently for West Ham, that would be 2-8, so hence the 6-goal margin. For Arsenal, their record away win is 7-1, and the ball played up towards Jared Bowen. And I noticed as well in the aftermath of the Declan Rice goal that David Moyes called together some of his West Ham players with some, but I mean, it's difficult to know what on earth he can say to them. So it is West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. Awful day for West Ham. So let's find out what the team news is ahead of our next commentary match. I hope you get a closer game than this, Alistair Bruce Ball.
I'm expecting it to be a little closer, but you never know. One change for each team, Aston Villa and Manchester United. Jacob Ramsey starts a first Premier League game for Villa since the end of last year. He comes in for Yuri Tielemans. Luca Dean, back from injury, is named amongst the subs. Manchester United's change sees Rafael Varane replace the injured Lisandro Martinez, so it's Varane and Maguire as the two centre-backs for the visitors. There's
an Arsenal man down in centre field who's in a little bit of difficulty there. What happened there, Michael?
He's just caught on it. Just having another little look.
I think it's Martinelli, isn't it? Martinelli is down in the middle of the half.
But his arm's up, that's what was strange. And when you stay down and your arm comes up, it's generally like you feel a little pop or something in your foot. He was caught right on the top. Maybe like one of those metatarsal injuries on the top of your foot with a stud just hitting it. But the celebration there as it went out for a corner that the West Ham supporters are all cheering, some sort of momentum, some sort of forward area. But Arsenal with a free kick now. Can they get any more?
Well, it is 6-0, and that's the biggest win that any team's had in the Premier League this season, and certainly 6-0 away from home. That's the biggest away win this season, and West Ham just really trying to make sure it doesn't get any worse, but you wouldn't bet against it. And of course there's still 20 minutes to play, and that ball from the halfway line from Bowen has bounced for Arsenal. Odegaard bringing it forward down the right hand side, the Arsenal captain. He's yet to get in on the scoring. Angles the ball back to the edge of the area, and now El Neni with a right foot shot, which was straight at Areola. But I mean, he had so much space, El Neni, to arrive onto that 25 yards out.
He had so much space, and he's probably thinking, I'll just try and curl this into the far post, just like Declan Rice did. Goalkeeper stepped across. He didn't have as much on it. There might have been a little foul, to be fair, just in the build up to that, where the space was allowed to be given. But David Moyes is standing in that technical area, arms folded. He's got a little bit of help from his assistant, shouting, demanding, trying to get something out of his side, because this is going from bad to worse for West Ham. I've seen an awful pass now backwards, and we're all over the place.
That's Michael Brown, Premier League midfielder, watching this. Well, it's an annihilation that we're watching. Arsenal, who were 4-0 up at half-time, have added 2 more in the second half. And really that goal from Declan Rice for 6-0 is the one that will really stick in the craw. That really twisted the knife. 6-0. And so we've had goals from Saliba, 2 from Bukayo Saka, who has since been substituted, 1 from Gabriel, 1 from Trossard, and then Declan Rice. So 6-0 the score. And that previous record away win in the league for Arsenal, as they do attack West Ham down the right hand side, and the cross from Sofal is blocked out for a throw-in near the corner flag. Went out of play off Kidior. West Ham get the ball back into play. Here's Kudus, left-footed cross from Kudus into the area, but a stretch high and a catch from goalkeeper Raya. That win that we were talking about, the previous record away win, 7-1 against Aston Villa in 1935. The remarkable thing about that match is that the great Ted Drake scored all 7 goals in that match. That's amazing. One of the Arsenal all-time greats. So at the moment, the margin of victory equals the record. We were simply not expecting anything like this here today. As Martinelli now attacks down the left-hand side, plays it across into the box, and the shot from the angle from Nketiah is too close to Areola, who's able to make the save.
Yeah, again, more space just down that left-hand side as they just drift Martinelli, and then he sees a lovely pass. Good first touch. Nketiah tries to just open the face of his right foot into that far corner. Goalkeeper steps across, but another opportunity.
That's the worry for West Ham, isn't it, Michael? The way that seemingly every time Arsenal come forward, they're creating more opportunities, so this could get worse for them. Nelson's gone down. He's won a free kick for Arsenal on the right hand side, just while they organise themselves. Let's make another trip to the Chelsea Crystal Palace Women's FA Cup tie, and Sohail Sahi.
15 minutes to play. Chelsea, the holders, 0, Crystal Palace 0, but Chelsea have just hit the crossbar, cross from the left hand side. Ramirez with a left footed shot which clipped the crossbar. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0.
And Celtic still on course for the quarter-finals in Scotland. Eli Baba.
They are indeed. It is St Mirren 0, Celtic 2, but St Mirren are not giving up without a fight. Some really positive changes from Stephen Robinson, and they've had a couple of huge chances in this second half, just not able to take them though, and that is why it is St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
So free kick to Arsenal that they're still not ready to take. Odegaard to take this from the right hand side, and again it's this set piece scenario. 4-5 Arsenal players standing offside currently, then step back on. Odegaard plays it in, and it's headed away by Mavropanos for West Ham. Kudus battling for it with Martinelli, who then gets his legs taken away from him by Kudus, who concedes a free kick on the left hand side.
Oh, ridiculous skill, wasn't it? Over his head, Martinelli, his hands down again from the floor. receives a yellow card for that challenge, but he sort of scoops it down and flicks it over his head and tries to come out the other side, and then that wallop of a challenge comes right through. Martinelli was feeling it, but great skill, great awareness.
Another West Ham change, Emerson coming off and coming on to replace him, the experienced former England defender Aaron Cresswell. So straight swap that, with Aaron Cresswell coming on for what is only his 7th appearance of the season now. 34 years old, but if there's one thing that surely will help here, it's experience, and someone like Cresswell joining the effort to make sure this doesn't get too much worse. Mind you, it's bad enough as it is for West Ham. If you've just switched on this scoreline, brace yourself, particularly if you're a West Ham fan. West Ham United 0, Arsenal 6. And we've still got 15 minutes to play. And we're going to see Arsenal make another couple of changes. So Cedric Suarez is going to come on for a rare appearance, and he is going to take over from Ben White. It's Ben White who's coming off. But also, the other change is going to see the 16-year-old Ethan Nwaneri come on for only his 2nd competitive appearance for the Arsenal first team. He made his debut last season when he became Arsenal's youngest player in any competition, and he's had to wait until now to get another opportunity. So 6-0 up, and now Arsenal bring on a 16-year-old, Michael.
Amazing, great chance, great attacking young player, gets to good positions, and he's never got a better chance, has he, of opening his account. The amount of opportunities that Arsenal are getting. Another set piece.
Yeah, another set piece for Arsenal, swung in, only half-headed away for West Ham, bounces across the box, and then his first contribution, Nwaneri, is to concede a foul. Bundles over Ben Johnson, and West Ham has got a free kick in their left-back position.
Yeah, no wonder we're seeing Declan Rice with a little smile on the bench, just enjoying the rest. Nwaneri going tight, and Johnson, I thought, he's a chance. Just goes and literally pulls him down. We're just talking about his attacking ability, getting an opportunity to get a chance to open an account, but goes straight in with a tackle.
He's going to play in the sort of Bukayo Saka position, isn't he? On the right-hand side, up front. Here's Odegaard infield towards Kai Havertz, who is fouled by Calvin Phillips, and it's a free kick, and he felt that, Kai Havertz. West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. Another change in the scoreline in Dublin with you, Sarah McCallum.
Yeah, 3rd try for Ireland. It's now Ireland 19, Italy 0. This try forged by the forward pack, pressure from them all, pick and go on the line, and it was Jack Conan the one to eventually ground the ball, and then Crowley snuck in the 2 points for the conversion. It's Ireland 19, Italy 0. And
that commentary continues on Sports Extra. Read all about the day's football as ever on the BBC Sport website, on the football pages. The one match in the Premiership in Scotland, currently Dundee 1, St Johnstone 1, with about 10 minutes of the 90 to play there, so that is 1-1. Match of the day tonight on BBC One, but also tonight live football in the shape of Nigeria against Ivory Coast in the Africa Cup of Nations final. That extraordinary story of Ivory Coast, the host nation, getting through to the final when it seemed they were heading out in the group stages, which I also saw, Michael, one of the great headlines on the BBC Sport website around about that time, which said, and their nickname is the Elephants, and the headline said, "Elephants are biting their nails," which I thought conjured up a brilliant image in the mind. Not sure whether elephants could bite their nails. West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. So that's on BBC 3 tonight, and commentary on the Super Bowl is on 5 Live late in the evening from 11 o'clock. So 6-0 to Arsenal, and we've got 10 minutes to go, and really the question here is whether it's going to get any worse for West Ham. But news from Chelsea Crystal Palace in the Women's FA Cup from Sohail Sahi.
And Chelsea have taken the lead, John, with 9 minutes to play. Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 0. Well worked from left to right. Good low ball into the near post, and a wonderful flick from Ramirez at the near post. Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Yeah, it finished Wolves 1, Brighton 4. Also latest scores: London City 0, Liverpool 2, and Southampton 1, Manchester United 3 in the Women's FA Cup. Arsenal 6-0 up, 6-0, and here's Nwaneri through the middle. Nketiah just outside the box into Nwaneri, the angle's tight for him, it's worked back across but straight into the path of Souček, who is able to clear it away. I mean, there's been subpar performances all around the pitch for West Ham, but I'm struggling to remember Thomas Souček have a less influential game in midfield.
Yeah, normally, and that's what I was saying, he was looking for leaders. David Moyes, Calvin Phillips having a little bit of a chase round now, can't get near one. Ward-Prowse as well.
Superb there through the middle. Nwaneri just outside the box, and the 16-year-old gives it to Havertz, and Havertz square from him into the penalty area. A twist and turn from Nelson. Comes back to Nwaneri. He tees it up for El Neni with a shot from 22 yards that is about a yard over the top of the bar. So it remains West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. And you've reached half-time in Dublin, Sarah Mulkerrins.
Yeah, half-time, and at the break it's Ireland 19, Italy 0. Going to form here, Ireland's first try coming from fly-off Jack Crowley at the end of some fluid passing. That his first international try. He missed that conversion, but he did kick the next after Dan Sheehan dotted down Ireland's second, and the third just came minutes ago. Jack Conan going over after some good work from the pack. Italy being undone just by some poor decision making when they do get in Ireland's 22. At the break it's Ireland 19, Italy 0.
Oh, a rare attack for West Ham into the Arsenal penalty area on the right. Overlapping run from Kudus to the byline, angles it back, but Arsenal are there in numbers. Only half cleared away though. Shot from the angle from Bowen is deflected wide, and it's a corner to West Ham, their second of the match, and that's produced a cheer from the home sections for a corner.
Yeah, Jared Bowen was involved. Kudos as well, trying to find a little angle near post to slip it inside, comes back to Bowen, deflects wide, gets a shot towards the goal. The sarcasm creeps in, doesn't it? About West Ham getting some sort of progression.
Yeah, meanwhile Arsenal's defenders celebrating with each other that they were able to keep that out. They want this clean sheet. Corner to West Ham from the right hand side then, and the delivery right into the gloves of goalkeeper Raya, who's able to stretch high and catch that and underarm it out, and Nwaneri is off to the halfway line. Indeed, he's already into West Ham territory, but then he runs into Calvin Phillips, who fouls him, and it's a free kick to Arsenal near the halfway line.
It was a great run, wasn't it? Really quick, direct. I think he'll just keep going. He tries to chop back into that left hand side. Calvin Phillips is going tight, is catching him, foul given, delay, the wait continues. Those players will just be thinking, where's that clock? Why is it not going any quicker? I want it to end, but just think if they'd left all the players on, John, what it could have been.
Yeah, although the youngsters, the replacements, are not doing badly, and here's Nwaneri to Havertz, and now the ball on the left hand side is stabbed right across the edge of the 6-yard box by Nelson, collected by Suarez on the right. He hits over the cross to the back post. It's still in the West Ham area. Kudus is trying to win a free kick against Kivior, which he did get, and then took a quick free kick, which so far wasn't ready for, and it's straight out of play for a throw. It goes from bad to worse for West Ham.
Yeah, more chances. They're opening as soon as they come forward with any sort of intent. As the ball just fizzed across the face just before, nobody on the end of it, and Nketiah waiting for that chance.
6-0. Odegaard passing it through to the edge of the box, bounces out for Kudus, who does win a free kick here, and that dramatic change as well to the goal difference, Michael. So Arsenal now up 31 plus 31, so they're right up there in terms of the goal difference, with Liverpool plus 32, Manchester City plus 31, and now Arsenal plus 31.
Yeah,
it's been transformational in that respect.
Yeah, great day for Arsenal. They've come and produced. I think again for those players, after the result against Liverpool, question marks were asked on this one, and now the confidence will grow, the belief right throughout. Imagine that dressing room afterwards when they walk in. It'll be something like, told you so, we are in this race. But the next shot is the West Ham owner.
Yep. And what this result might mean, I think, for any manager, if you lose 6-0 at home, certainly in the London derby, when the pressure has been on, you can expect 6 or 6 later with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Well, there will clearly be West Ham callers, and that will be the big subject tonight. Football Daily in the morning. We'll have all of the reaction. We'll try and bring you live interviews into 5 Live Sport this afternoon as well. But Football Daily podcast in the morning from BBC Sounds, where you'll be able to hear all of the BBC radio offerings. 6-0 to Arsenal. They're just knocking it around. And now inside this great stadium, over 60,000 capacity, it is well below half full, probably quarter full, and more West Ham fans, just dribs and drabs now, heading towards the exits. Started off with over 62,000 people in here, but let me tell you, the big walkout had started before half time, because by that stage it was already 4-0. Saliba, Saka with a penalty, Gabriel and Trossard all scored before half time, and even before the fourth goal they were already heading out.
Yeah, he was heading that way. The disappointment for your local rivals and being outclassed all the way, outthought, everything about it. And second half I thought, well, what are you going to bring to it? What can you do? They have limited Arsenal to less opportunities, but still not enough of a reaction.
Throw-in. It's a free kick to Arsenal on the left-hand side near the corner flag, so another set-piece opportunity. So El Neni just arrives inside the penalty area. Now you've got the luxury for Mikel Arteta to be able to give game time to El Neni, Cedric Suarez, as well as the young teenager Reece Nelson as well on the field. Free kick. This one is curled in, took a glance possibly off a West Ham head. It's just been kept in by Aguerd, who wins himself a throw-in down in the left back area. And for West Ham, next weekend they go to Nottingham Forest, so that's on Saturday. They go to Nottingham Forest. But I think for Arsenal, Michael, it's Burnley away next, struggling Burnley, then Porto in the Champions League, and then they're at home to Newcastle and away to Sheffield United. But the confidence now, this fourth successive win that they've had, and the manner of this today, as you say, confidence now for Arsenal.
It should be that with the run of games. It's fantastic what they've obviously made happen. The reaction after a wonderful result against Liverpool, and they've continued now with those run of games. You would expect them to continue, and the longer it goes, that confidence, that belief that the title's there. And let's not forget, Liverpool, City play each other.
Yeah. Whereas Arsenal have got to go to Manchester City next month. West Ham attacking down the right flank with Kudus, who goes round the outside to the byline. I'm not sure he was able to cross that before the ball had gone over the line, but there was no flag. In any case, Arsenal dealt with it in the middle. Arsenal just one clean sheet in their last 12 matches away from home. So you can see why the Arsenal defenders celebrated on that rare occasion West Ham got into the box and created problems 5 or 6 minutes ago. They want the clean sheet.
That is a great sign, isn't it? Their away defensive record. That's for all you look and you say, well, there's inconsistency. What type of mettle have Arsenal got? Have they played as well this season, etc.? But to have that away from home, I think that tells you there is a determination to keep clean sheets, to be hard to beat, a team ethic. And it's not just the defence; it starts all the way around, isn't it? That's what Mikel Arteta demands.
Yeah. And certainly when they go to Manchester City, they'll want the run to continue and to make sure that the all-round game is where they want it to be. So 5 Live from the BBC, West Ham 0, Arsenal 6. This is the place you hear more Premier League commentaries than anywhere else, and indeed over the course of the next month or so, we've got some big ones for you. Here's Kudus on the right-hand side for West Ham. Plays a nutmeg into the penalty area, but there's cover there from Reece Nelson, who is able to nip in and win the ball back for Arsenal, who've got it on the edge of their own penalty area. We're in the 90th minute now, and Declan Rice scored in the 65th minute to make it 6-0. And the blessing for West Ham and David Moyes is that since then it's not got any worse. But Arsenal coming forward, El Neni, low pass forward towards Havertz, and then back centrally, the pass through to Nketiah, left side of the box, but he's forced wide by Mavropanos and so foul. And then Calvin Phillips in on the tackle on the far side to put the ball out of play. But it is a foul by Calvin Phillips. just too strong with a challenge. And it's a yellow card for Phillips for that.
Yeah, the tackle was right through the back, wasn't it, of Reece Nelson. Two leg, the right, one side, left just coming a little bit later. Easy one for the official. But this is one more opportunity for wider areas. I'm seeing 4 or 5 just going right in front of the goalkeeper. But they're quite deep, this West Ham, on this wider area because it's a little bit further down. There's only one in the wall to block it.
Just 3 minutes of out of time, Michael.
Yeah.
After 7 at the end of the first half. After all of the substitutions.
I think that was requested by the West Ham bench, I can tell you that.
Do you think there may have been a little bit of...
yes.
Free kick then for Arsenal. Yet another set piece. That's poor delivery, actually, from the far side. And Ward-Prowse was able to clear it away towards the halfway line where Sofal concedes a free kick. It's all over in the St Mirren Celtic tie. Ailey Barber.
And Celtic join Aberdeen, Hibernian, Kilmarnock, Livingston, Rangers and Greenock Morton in the quarter-finals thanks to goals from their Japanese duo Kyogo and Daizan Maeda. And this one all about the clinical difference between the two. Very little else between them. St Mirren denied by the bar, Joe Hart defensive blocks and some slack finishing. Celtic showed flashes of what we all know they can produce. It was another day where they weren't at their best, but this was a tricky tie navigated successfully. The quarter-final draw is around 4:40 this evening ahead of Airdrie against Hearts, and Celtic are in the hat as it finished St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
Thanks, Ailey. And in the Premiership, Dundee might have snatched a win. Jordan McGee has scored a late goal, and Dundee leads St Johnstone by 2-1 in added time. Arsenal looking for this 7th goal. Havertz on the edge of the box, Nwaneri through. I think there might have been a foul by Nketiah. There was. It's a free kick to West Ham on the edge of their own box. I make it we are in the final minute of added time. So yes, we will have commentary on Arsenal's game at Manchester City next month. 5 Live will also be the place to hear Liverpool against Manchester City. 5 Live will be the place to hear the Manchester Derby and the Carabao Cup final, England's matches against Brazil and Belgium, and indeed the Wales Euro playoff. Commentary on all of that over the course of the coming weeks, plus, as they say, much more. Busy time, Michael, coming up.
Yeah, busy time. It's getting exciting now. This is what we want to see, but
for West Ham,
this Sunday afternoon has shocked a few, that's for certain.
And what does it say as well when in the Premier League, you know, the team in 3rd can win 6-0 against the team in 8th?
It's very worrying. So you don't expect that. You know, Arsenal have had that confidence drilled into them after that result.
There it is. There is the final whistle on a sorry day for West Ham. Boos from the few West Ham fans who are still inside the stadium here. Many of them left before half-time. They knew which way this game was going. It was 4-0 at the break. It's ended 6-0. So that is a scoreline that equals the record margin of victory for an Arsenal away league win, and also equals the record margin of victory for a West Ham home league defeat. Extraordinary, really extraordinary. And what this will mean for David Moyes' future in the job, I think we can all guess what the reaction will be, and indeed probably already is, from West Ham supporters wherever they are. And David Moyes, credit to him, is out there in the centre circle, and he's actually applauding around the stadium to those West Ham fans who are still inside the ground. But what can he do? What can he say?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? We're just having a little eye on him now as he's gone to the far side. He's travelling back here, where there is a lot of support, maybe some balanced supporters just around that tunnel will look and think, overall, what type of job has David Moyes done and how much he's contributed to this football club. But this is a real bad day as he just walks in now.
Yeah.
There was some claps there to the side of David Moyes.
Just keeping an eye on him as he walks over the West Ham crest on the side of the pitch and disappears around, out of our sight, down the tunnel. I mean, a manager of vast experience. It's over 1,100 matches that he's been in charge of in all various competitions. This must be one of his worst days.
Yeah, it'll be a sad day, because ultimately as well, for the job he's done here, the trophy that he's delivered, the performances in the Premier League, and there's still doubt all around the job and how he sets his team up. That'll be what will really disappoint him, thinking, what more can I do? But this, after that negativity around us, does not help those supporters who are obviously kicking in and saying we need a change, we need a different direction. I personally think it's crazy to even have that opinion, but this was a poor day at the office, and those fans will be saying this is why we want to see different things at West Ham.
Super win for Arsenal though, and what a win as well, a week after winning against Liverpool when there were severe doubts during the course of that match, but they came through, beat the league leaders a week ago, and then have come here to West Ham and done this with goals from Saliba, 2 from Saka, one of them a penalty, Gabriel, Trossard, and then Declan Rice capping it off, the former West Ham captain, making it a final scoreline of West Ham 0, Arsenal 6.
We'll come back to Arsenal in a second, Michael, but I mean, you mentioned not thinking that West Ham need a change. Just to put the meat on the bones, they're 8th, they're above Brighton, who get lots of praise, they're on the same points as Newcastle, they're only 2 behind Manchester United. Objectively, for West Ham, that league position is a very good league position, but when there's already bad feeling and you have a day like today, David Sullivan was sitting there through to the end watching that can accelerate bad feeling into something much worse, can't it?
Yeah, but if the club, lead by example and give him a new contract, it takes this away some time ago. They were sat in 6th. We were looking at this 6 weeks ago, Steve, and we're all saying, give David Moyes the contract, let's sort it out, let's put a load of positivity around the place. This is the way that the football club is going to be directed and continue to develop going forward, bringing more attacking flair and different players that they are missing, by the way. But, you can't always please every supporter, and they still haven't gone with it, they still haven't given him that contract, and then this type of day, those question marks will be asked. They've left it open, and the club have decided to do that because ultimately they are looking at an alternative. They've done it before to David Moyes, they're doing it again. I felt like when he was in 6th position, if they didn't make a decision then, he should have said, you know what, thanks very much everyone, I'm going to go because I'm not really fully appreciated what I do, and I'll go and say I wish you all the best, and I've left you in an unbelievable position, good luck to the next person. He's stayed, he's continued because he loves it, he loves the job, he loves the day-to-day work ethic, he loves to try and take this forward, and he's never afraid of a challenge or criticism, David Moyes.
I think what it means is that it's much more likely now that it will be left until the end of the season and to see what happens in the remaining months. And don't forget, they are still in the Europa League, they're in the last 16 of the Europa League, and by definition a team in 8th in the Premier League will be one of the better teams that is left in the Europa League. So I suspect that the result of this match
but
here today,
recruitment and planning and everything, John, it's not done correctly. It's not an ideal situation.
Well, I suppose
that's the point.
The problem is, Michael, even if objectively neutrals like the three of us could look at it and say, but look, West Ham are in this position and they've got A, B and C going for them. If you're David Sullivan, you're watching thousands of fans leave in the first half and tens of thousands more leave in the second.
Yes.
A manager needs the fans behind them. It almost doesn't matter whether or not he deserves them.
This is this game, Steve, right? This is this game today. But this has been going on for a long period of time, right? This is a devastating result for the situation that they're in. But why have they not acted on it before this? That's what I can't work out for 1 minute why that we haven't seen clarity, we haven't seen anything from the football club. This is David Moyes and what he's delivered so far. But what again, the fans are speaking, the club are listening. And ultimately, some fans get their wishes, some don't. Sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative. The fans pay the money, they're entitled for what they want to do. And the West Ham supporters, not all of them, but some of them and enough of them are making noise.
Let's turn it back to Arsenal quickly because we're running out of time, and they were brilliant. I mean, we talked a lot, Michael, at half-time about how self-inflicted things were for West Ham. In the second half, when a lot of teams might have taken their foot off the gas, Arsenal put their foot down. They were so hungry.
Yeah, I think they were. I think ultimately when that 6th goal went in, all the changes made the game a flat. There were some youngsters in. It was exciting to see, fantastic for them. But you could only imagine what it would have been like if everybody would have stayed on it. But it was job done. Wonderful performances all around, confidence, wonderful strike. I mean, I'm sat here and thinking, as Declan Rice just literally put it in the top corner to make it 6, and it's like, like I said in commentary, you think you've seen everything, and then you see that special little moves, set pieces, something again unique, that they've changed things around and moved set pieces, and they were clinical on those. But it was a top performance. They give West Ham no room whatsoever to get back into the game, so that's something going forward now they've got to build on. They've got to keep that consistency. They are now right in that title race.
Michael, John, thank you both very much indeed. One of the worst West Ham days in a long time, but for Arsenal, outstanding. And with those 6 goals, they now have the same goal difference as Manchester City and just 1 goal difference worse off than Liverpool. So Arsenal, 52 points, Manchester City, 52 points, Liverpool 54. The goal difference, Arsenal 31, Manchester City 31 and Liverpool 32.